Elsie Bray, or better known as the Exo Stranger, experimented on a bunch of Vex technology back when she was still human. She would secretly communicate off-world about Vex architecture and secret information that would help her craft things like World Line Zero. But this someone who was on the other end happened to be a renowned scientist responsible for some creations tied to Future War Cult. Today we're going to dive into some of the history behind Maya Sundaresh, Future War Cult, and the secret device they used to see into the future.
All ends are beginnings. Our fight is far from over.
Alright, welcome back Guardians, and I hope you are having a great day. Before we jump into all the time travel-iness, I wanted to announce that our community Discord is now live. I made this thing a while back, and I made a community post a couple of days ago and also commented in the last video, but many people might have missed that. So if you are interested, anyone can join. We have about 200 plus people at the moment, and it's definitely a great time to just chill, talk about games, or really anything, so link for that is down below. If you are also interested in having a voice role in my game, there is still some parts available, and the link for that is right under the Discord, and all the instructions are on that Google Doc. But that's enough of me blabbing, let's get into this time traveling mystery. Maya Sundaresh and her story begin near the Ishtar Academy on Venus, where they studied many different secrets. As we know, the Ahamkara not only resided around the reef and the Dreaming City, but also Venus, where they were hunted to extinction by the Guardians. Now on Venus, it was said that the Ahamkara were in the middle of some crazy traveler type actions and even caused some Guardians to go insane and have suicidal actions. But here near the Ishtar Academy, the Ahamkara were studied extensively by Maya Sundaresh and her crew. If you remember back in Destiny 1, we did visit the archives and it talks about Dr. Shim, there's Maya's partner Chioma, and the list goes on and on.
The Ishtar Collective gathered some of the greatest minds of the Golden Age. Their archive is a treasure of knowledge that we cannot lose to the Fallen. Secure the archive, and the Cryptarchs will be in your debt.
Welcome, Dr. Shim. Please enter your security clearance code.
Dr. Shim? Never mind that. Let's hit that terminal up ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Shim. Shall I begin correlation of Vex Mind core samples?
So polite.
Now believe it or not, Kate6 was actually a bodyguard during these efforts back then, as he lists information from that in his journal. He says the coast is different, beautiful and unbroken and timeless. It teems with new life. Every big brain in the system has their sights on the Academy. We were there for the Ahamkara, parasitic reptilian critters that appeared out of thin air, inexplicable genome, new proteins, so much potential. And me? I'm there for her, Dr. Maya Sundaresh. She's poured into the research on the brink of another breakthrough, focused on devouring every new data point. Brilliant, driven, beautiful. And in the journal there is a copy of Sundaresh's Ishtar Collective ID card. I can see her so clearly, dark hair split into smooth, shimmering strands feigning over her forehead, gray irises blooming as she looks up from her work to see me standing there beside her. A little bit later on in the journal he continues after realigning. It says no, she doesn't notice me at all, doesn't even recognize my face even though I've been standing over her shoulder for months. I'm nothing more than a fixture, a required imposition, an unwanted necessity. I'm no egghead, never was. Just like now, back then I was on a need-to-know basis, and the only thing I needed to know is that nothing and nobody gets through that door and past me without at least 3 layers of security clearance and a whole lot of muscle. Still, I think about saying something, saying anything. In a second, my mind rifles through a trillion possibilities. But she's already turned back to her work. I shuffle my feet, straighten my back, and return to mine. So that is a pretty cool story right there. This is when Cade first became an Exo. He was stationed in the Ishtar Academy to basically be a bodyguard. He would work alongside Maya and her crew and the researchers on Venus, and we can even see the little love interest he has there. He wants to talk to her, but he doesn't know what to say, and she barely notices him, so SMH. But while Sundaresh and her crew were experimenting with a Vex Goblin, they realized something had gone terribly wrong. This robot in front of them, who they called Subject 12, was simulating them almost perfectly and kept the team worried about their own lives. Now, it turned out that Subject 12 made tons of copies of their own research team, and they needed to bring in a war mind to stop the madness, as the unit would not be able to simulate, well, a war mind, and it worked. So from that altercation, the big thing you need to know is that there was like tons of copies of her team scattered in the Vex network. Once the Warmind came in and intervened, they kind of freed themselves from it, but those copies are still in the network running around and experimenting, I guess. In some of the other lore, we learn of Sundaresh's involvement with a time-traveling type device called the Device. In Destiny 1 Grimoire, 40 years after the events of Ishtar and Venus, she writes to her lover Chioma Essie, who used to be on her team, but now they are split apart as Sundaresh is stuck here in this lab with the Device, and her lover is stationed near a moon of Saturn. She says this: "My love, I've opened this log as an apology. As a scientist, I believe in record keeping. I believe in protocols, peer review, and ethical conduction. I believe in the importance of disbelief. You know, let's run that one more time. What I'm doing here in Lhasa isn't science. It's unethical, secret, and shameful. After what happened in Ishtar, dearest Chioma, I know you'd be furious with me for getting involved. 40 years isn't far enough to forget a day like that. But I believe it's important. The least I can do is keep a few notes for you." So you can see there she explains how they're split up, what they're doing now. Chioma's over on the moon of Saturn, Hyperion, I believe, and then Maya is in this lab with the Device. So she then records some of these cases where people experience different things, and I'm going to read a couple of those now. Trial 1, Subject 1. It was an act of stupid loneliness. I used the Device on myself because there was a silence. I missed you. We hadn't been apart like this for more than a year since we met. I'm not a very good wife, am I? You write me every week, even with all the Hyperion work and all the Hyperion distance keeping you from me, and I act like it's not enough. We built the Device in mimicry of the Vex gateway systems from Ishtar. An observatory, yes, but I think of it as a mind chip, capable of displacing its payloads across space and time. The lab is cold and isolated. We are quarantined from the world physically and mentally. We can't send messages out. If we breach the Vex manifold, even our words might transmit contagion. One night last month, I missed you, and so I thought that I could look inside the Device and find one of the other Chiomas. I thought I could call out to one of the forks we sent out there to explore. I just wanted to send my love." Next, we have this record. "We decided not to abort. It's insane, isn't it? There are pressures on us I can't tell you about until I see you again. The purpose of the system is intelligence, you see. It's stencilized right on the hull. SXISR, special asset. We would very much like to make it work reliably. Our supervisory warmind has devised a drug it says will protect and prepare us. I am beginning to wonder if we were wrong about the merchant and the alchemist, or if that explanation of time was incomplete." So with these records, there's probably like 5 total from just this one journal, but it explains people going into the Device, going insane, going mad, feel like they're dying, and things like that. And then we come to this last one right here where Maya explains this. "I heard you, my love. I was at 6, oscillating on the event axis, coordinated with the known manifold. I heard you. You were talking to me. Well, not me, but another me. Another Maya Sundaresh. You said, my love, so many strange things have happened, and it's been so long. We've come so far. Do you ever want to go home? And I said, not me, but the other me. I said, my love, I am always home. So, I'm resigning, my love. I'm done with this work, and I'm done being apart from you. I'll see you again soon. I can't take this journal out with me, so I've left it for the others and asked them to continue this log. Maybe it'll become a tradition, the gospel of our little cult." So we could see from some of those that many people went crazy from using the device, and even Maya herself used it and ended up quitting her job. She was kind of tired of all this work. She just wanted to be with her love. They were so far apart, and she just left her job and everything behind. Now the interesting thing with that is this. She left this journal behind because she couldn't take it with her, and she says the gospel of our little cult. Now this was actually the beginning of the future war cult, as the journey continues sometime later with entries from them. So Future War Cult ended up rebuilding the device in the city, had many more experiments, and then they decided to abandon it as people had visions of the city burning, things going crazy, and they thought it wasn't really worth it. But if you think about it, in reality, they should have just kept this because they pretty much predicted the Red War and all that madness with Gaul. Here's that record. the device at 1222, and immediately the device reported displacement of his consciousness. Visions of a war and the city trapped in flames. Subject 29 worked the supply channels on the slip before he joined the war cult. By 1227 he was babbling, and that's the end of the record. So Maya Sundaresh is definitely an interesting character for multiple reasons. One, she quit her job to be with her lover over on Saturn, but this started future war cult. I'm guessing this was what sprung all the theories, back in Destiny 1 when people thought that she was Lakshmi or still alive and somehow involved with the war cult itself. Now, next to all of that though, you still have the copies of Maya and her team scattered throughout the Vex network. If you played Inside Terminus, which was the PlayStation exclusive strike in year 1, now I believe everybody has it, we encounter a giant scion named Kargan who is attempting to access the Vex network, and Ghost finds a file named N-Sun-12. This could refer to the 12th copy of Maya Sundaresh still around in the Vex network.
Location secured, Commander Zavala.
Good work, Guardian. What intel did you discover?
There's an almost unreadable data artifact here labeled Oxa. It's heavily corrupted, but I'm able to make out M-Sund-12 from the access log. What is Oxa, and who was M-Sund-12?
Those are questions for another day, I suppose.
But Guardians, that's all I got for today's video. One of the reasons I love Destiny so much is because there's so many different stories and directions they could take this crazy story. I mean, heck, they could make tons of spin-off movies just surrounding the lore, Maya and her team, Shin and Dredgen, Varix, and so on. But let me know down below, do you think we'll see more surrounding this mystery in the future? And would you like more videos on M-Sun-12, the Oxa Machine, and some more Maya Sundaresh information? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.